We all have individual needs, but one woman who decided to take it into her own hands when she thought the needs of children with autism weren't being met. Joining me in the studio today is Meta from Spectra Sensory Clothing and Leanne, one of the parents who has been using some of the items from Meta's clothing line. So Meta and Leanne, thank you very much for joining me in the studio today. So Meta, we'll start off with you first. Now, you were here this time last year telling us about Spectra Sensory Clothing. So for those who didn't see that interview, can you tell us a little bit about it?
I wish I'd known more about manufacturing before I started the whole process. I wanted to make stuff that would be suitable for an autistic person because they don't like labels, seams, various fabrics. And by research we found out that schoolwear was a big problem. So we developed a shirt that has a soft collar, goes on over the head, seams are all sewn down, labels are in pocket, seamless socks which we had to bring in from America. We are now doing school trousers, most for post-primary because a lot of the children don't like buttons and it's very hard to get those for boys at post-primary. We've done t-shirts which have also been extremely popular.
And can you tell us about the inspiration behind this clothing line?
Because I have a daughter on the spectrum, they don't verbalise, they don't know how to, so she would never say she didn't like something or she didn't want it. So when I first found out, I went and I found out about the sensory issues and I had to go home and throw half her wardrobe out, so I thought I'd like to do something that would enable her to wear clothes like other children wear.
And what has changed in the past year since you were last here?
We actually, just last week, we have an online retailer who's very popular and has many customers, and she is starting to sell our uniforms under the Spectra label. Prior to this, she only sold seamless socks, but she is going to stock our uniforms.
And Leanne, now how did you first find out about what Meta was doing?
Social media. So just on Facebook, and had seen the page was shared by somebody who was on my page and had seen that it was, at that stage it was shirts, and had inquired then to see if I could see the shirts and see if they'd be suitable for Tilly.
And I believe that Tilly is an autistic child.
Tilly's now age 10 and she was diagnosed 3 years ago. She has been given a diagnosis of Asperger's. So her difficulties would be around social communication. She had been tested from she was aged 3 to 4 and she doesn't like eye contact. She wouldn't be able to say hello to somebody if she met them in a supermarket, and just things that we take for granted every day, Tilly struggles with. She's an above average IQ, so academically she's one of the top in her class, but the simple things and saying hello and goodbye and some of the social norms that we would say are normal, she would have difficulties with, and one of her difficulties is sensory issues as well.
And talking of the sensory issues, how challenging was it for you to find clothes that she was happy with?
So it was quite interesting because Tilly isn't very good at verbalising when something really annoys her. She's quite compliant and she'll just accept what's happening. So she wasn't able to tell me how annoying her school uniform was. I was having difficulty getting her dressed in the morning, and I just thought it was tiredness. I had no idea that it was actually what I was asking her to put on in the morning was difficult. Then when we experienced the shirts from Meta, the difference was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And again, the socks. So once she was offered this ability to say, this isn't what all shirts are like, and these are nice shirts, she was then able to start verbalising that she didn't like the socks that she was wearing. So I suppose for her, everyday clothes and how uncomfortable they were was just normal and there was no other option. Once then this other option came into the house, she started to verbalise how she hated everything she has in her wardrobe. Similar thing, just go through the wardrobe and pull out clothes that she'll never ever wear.
So it sounds like this different option almost gave her a confidence boost.
It is, absolutely. And now with everything in a shop, or even if she's looking at it, she'll be like, no, that's got a label, that's scratchy, can't wear that, it's not soft. So it's allowed her to be able to verbalise to me what she finds now comfortable to wear.
So can you tell us about the individual products and how much each product costs?
Right, well, we have our seamless socks, which for young children $8.99, adults $9.99 or 3 for $25. The tailless shoelaces are £5 each, or 3 for 12. The shirts are $16.99 and $19.99. They're Scotch guarded, they're excellent quality. T-shirts, $12.99. Nothing too extravagant, and I know, as I say, it might not be affordable for someone. I wouldn't like that to be a barrier. And say if somebody didn't have the funds, obviously, or were getting a school uniform grant, or waiting on their child to be diagnosed possibly, they're certainly welcome to come in and I see what we can do. We may have some samples or fix them up some other way.
I think what I found quite interesting whenever Tilly has obviously wore the items is I now don't see them as a cost, because the actual time that it saves me in the morning for her to be able to get dressed and to dress happily and not to be fighting against what she's doing doesn't then make me question how much the actual product costs, because to me it's an essential for her, it's not a luxury. And you know, Tilly receives DLA, and that DLA money is set aside for us to pay for things that she needs, and this is one of the items that we're willing to absolutely pay for.
What impact did this have on Tilly? What does she think of the clothes?
Well, Tilly wasn't able to be here today because she wouldn't be comfortable in this situation to be able to answer for herself. So she managed to write down a couple of words on what she thinks of the products that Meta offers. So she put down around the shirts, she said that the label is inside the pocket so it doesn't annoy her. It's also her favourite shirt. And she said about the socks that they're the most comfortable thing that she's ever had on her feet.
And Leanne, with April being World Autism Month, what is the one thing that you would like people to know or be more informed about when it comes to autism?
I think for me, autism is an invisible disability, and regardless of anyone's disability, whether it be autism or anything else that you can't see, it's about just treating people with respect and never make an assumption about somebody. So if somebody's behaving in a different way that what you class as typical, that doesn't mean that you have the right to make an assumption around that person. And if in doubt, speak to, you know, an autistic person. Don't make an assumption, just ask the question.
Okay, well Leanne and Meta, thank you very much for coming into the studio today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.